what is the scoop with James Garoppolo? I mean, didn't they kind of give him an opportunity to seek a trade back in March? Would they just refresh it? They hit refresh on the offer to let him find his new spot?
You know, it reminds me of when George told Sienna, the woman named after a crayon, that he loved her the second time. And she said, I heard you the first time. Because this wasn't news. And look, I'm not going to get into the whole sausage-making process in this setting. But there's a lot of favor trading that happens. There's a lot of stuff that happens for reasons other than it's really news. And sometimes old news gets repackaged as new news to maybe pull the ripcord on a lawnmower that still hasn't started yet. Garoppolo's been available for months. So this week's news reminds everyone that Garoppolo is still available. And I think the big takeaway is nobody wants him, especially not for anything close to $25 million, which is what he's due to make this year, or whatever the 49ers are going to want in trade. I mean, good luck getting any real value when Baker Mayfield got a fifth-round pick for the Browns, who still have to pay him $10.5 million, and the Panthers are only paying him $5 million. That's the ceiling on Garoppolo, and that's not going to be good news for the 49ers. So I think that they're going to have a hard time placing him. I still have a weird gut feeling about the Texans. Nick Caserio, the GM there, drafted Jimmy Garoppolo in 2014, and if Caserio really does want him, this is the way you play it. You slow play it. You act like you're all in with Davis Mills, and you just wait for the opportunity to buy low. And so I wouldn't expect there to be any indication that they want to do it, but it wouldn't surprise me if they do it, because I think Garoppolo is good enough to take a 4-win team and make them a 8-9-win team if they really want to do that, if they're not doing the full season, let's position ourselves to get a franchise quarterback next year game. But I could see him in Houston, but there really isn't any place out there, and there hasn't been a place out there that we look at and say, I got a feeling he's going to end up there. I mean, we knew for 2 months that Baker Mayfield had a good chance to go to Carolina. There hasn't been a single team that we've looked at and said, yeah, I think that's where Jimmy G is going to go.
I'm thinking Seattle if he's released. How do we get this? What's the scenario under which he's released? How does that happen?
Well, and here's the problem. Because at some level, I think the 49ers decide, and they think that Garoppolo will go along with it. You know, the talking points from the 49ers that we've heard all offseason, oh, he's a great guy, he's a nice guy, Jimmy's a nice guy, Jimmy's a nice guy. At some point, Jimmy's got to be a butthole. I almost said the other word. You know, you can say the two words apart, but you can't say them together. You ever think that? You can say ass, right? And you can say hole.
You can't.
But God forbid you say them together.
Well, I appreciate, just for our sake, for this moment, that you separated the two there.
That's right. And I almost went the other way. But what was I saying? Oh,
yes, Jimmy the Butthole.
Jimmy needs to go butthole. Jimmy needs to be that needs to be his mafia nickname, Jimmy the Butthole Garoppolo. That's what he needs to be, because otherwise, here's what the 49ers are going to do. They're just going to squat on him, and they're going to wait for something that you can't expect to have happen. A Teddy Bridgewater injury is a rarity.
Yes.
Non-contact, and we rarely see starters play in the preseason anymore with the 3 games. So lightning striking and taking out a starting quarterback and all of a sudden opening up an opportunity to get a first-round pick for Garoppolo, and Garoppolo gets his $25 million, that's not going to happen. So I think what occurs is we get to late August, early September, time to set the roster. Week 1 is when Garoppolo's $24 million salary becomes fully guaranteed if he's still on the team. At some point before then, they're going to go to him, I think, and say, hey, Jimmy, I mean, we'll keep you as the backup to Trey Lance, but we can't pay you $25 million. And then what does he do? He's screwed at that point because everybody else has a depth chart that's set. And what do we hear when a quarterback gets injured? We hear we're going to go next man up, next man up, next man up. So I don't know that Garoppolo is so good that he just swoops in anywhere like Brett Favre with the Vikings in 2009, gets up to speed, and turns the team into a winner right away. Too many questions, too many injuries in his history. He doesn't stand out as a top 5 guy. I think he's going to have a hard time. This may just be a lost season. This may be about just doing whatever you can and trying to position yourself to make a good decision in free agency in 2023.